And welcome to Kentucky Brew Reviews. I'm Special K, and this is another beer and booze pickup video. We are actually at a Total Wine in Las Vegas. This is Las Vegas. It's on Las Vegas Boulevard, right down the strip, but it's not quite on the strip. It's maybe like 10 or 15 minutes from the main strip here. Start off with some high-end tequila. I've never heard of this brand. One thing I'll say about this Total Wine and Vegas in general is they tend to keep a lot of the higher-end alcohol, at least what I would consider higher-end, like stuff above $80 a bottle out on the shelves. In Kentucky, you would never see $80 plus bottle of tequila just sitting out there in the open. Those are always like behind glass and stuff like that. So we're just going through the wine. I didn't spend a lot of time here. You know, we don't specialize in wine or anything, so I'm just showing you guys. They had a huge wine selection. Good wine selection, good alcohol selection. Not a great beer selection, but that tended to be the theme for most of the places I went to in Vegas here. This store there wasn't a ton of people here. We went here at like maybe 8 p.m. like on a Thursday night. They did have a lot more workers standing around, and I'll talk about that in a minute. Some Scatterbrain. There seemed to be a lot of peanut butter whiskey and tequila seemed to be the go-to around here. I saw them on displays everywhere at multiple different liquor stores. They had a good selection of pints and half pints here. Nothing too crazy. We did pick up a bottle of vodka and a bottle of whiskey here. There's some New Amsterdam passion fruit. That's a new one. I haven't seen that one. $7 kind of high for those, though. I think I paid about $3 or $4 for those at home. Yeah, we picked up this Bankers Club vodka. Never heard of it. It was $3. You know how we love our cheap, crappy vodka on the show. Some Kinky and J, Woodford. I did notice that Woodford is extremely high here. You saw that, their pints of Woodford are like $30-ish. At home, that's what we pay for a whole fifth. And I've seen some stores that having Woodford as high as $50 to $60, but those are probably around the casino and on the strip. I'm sure it was a bit cheaper around here. I don't remember exactly at this store, but I know it was more than what I'm used to paying. Some gin, lots of flavored gin. Seems to be the new thing coming out is flavored gin. Some of the Sierra Nevada hazy little thing variety pack. And like I said, their tequila section was pretty impressive. That was probably the biggest section of spirits I had was tequila. They didn't have a huge bourbon selection. They had a lot of Scotch, a lot of Irish whiskey, and the bourbon selection was it was fair, but I don't think it was anything special. It's not what I was used to seeing, that's for sure. Some number one tequila there, Jose Traditional. We got a bottle of that we need to review. Los Cabos. I didn't see that at home. I should have picked a bottle of that up. So they had some, I don't know if you saw it there, there's some ghost pepper infused tequila. It sounds a little rough. I mean, I guess it would be good in certain applications, but I feel like it'd be very specific. It's kind of how it goes. I feel like with a lot of the peppered flat vodkas and peppered alcohols out there, I'm like, that's cool, but they're pretty niche. You can really only do a few different styles of drinks with them. And again, this is still all tequila. So this store had a lot more glass cases, like these high-end glass cases. I mean, that's a $10,000 bottle right there. And I was like, oh, our liquor store, they have $5,000 and $8,000 bottles of tequila and maybe 1 or 2 tins. But then I quickly noticed that they had 4 or 5 aisles of these glass cases. And our Total Wines at home might have 1 or 2. Like there's a $16,000 bottle of cognac right there. There's a $17,000 bottle of cognac. And they actually had sort of like an attendant that would stand kind of in the middle of these aisles and I guess answer any questions you had. He was definitely watching us because we were filming and giving us the stank eye the entire time. And he kept making weird comments like, oh, you enjoying the view and stuff like that? And I was like, yeah, okay, sure. There's an $11,000 bottle of cognac. And these look, like I said, $11,000 seems like a lot, but that wasn't even close to the most expensive bottle they had here. And you'll see that in a minute. Here's some bourbon and some Irish whiskey right here. This is stuff that I would never get to try in my entire life. Here's some Irish whiskey and some Bushnells up there. Talamadu, some Jameson. We did finally pick up a bottle of Jameson Orange. Everybody's been asking us to pick that up. Now we're sort of getting over into the bourbon and some of the whiskey right after we get over here. There's some, like I said, Jim Beam, Wild Turkey, stuff you'd expect. Old Forester, Bankers Club. I guess that's maybe the club brand out here or something. Some Rebel Yell. I was just talking about that black powder bourbon, how it says Kentucky Straight Bourbon, but I've never seen it at our Total Wine in Kentucky or anywhere else. There's Woodford. Parker Hayes. Some Jack Daniels, some Ancient Age down there. George Tickles. Some Long Branch. Yeah, Rabbit Hole. We don't have a very good relationship with that distillery. They weren't very nice to us. Redemption Rye. We're getting down to some of these I've never heard of. And a lot of these are, they say they're bourbon. More than likely, they're probably not made in Kentucky. It's probably why we don't see them around. They did have a bottle of Perles, which is, it's a pretty niche distillery, but they make some good quality spirits. It was nice to see that they had some at this location all the way in Las Vegas. If you haven't had Perles and you want a good high-end bottle of bourbon, it's the way to go. Some Jefferson Oceans, probably one of the most overrated bourbons on the market. Knob Creek, solid stuff. They run $35 and $50 for a bottle of Knob. That's expensive. Small Batch Select there, Four Roses, $62. That's painful. So, yeah, these are, I think that was even some Bird Dog down there, the regular bourbon. I didn't see their flavors. Black Eagle, Angel's Envy. Some limoncello right here on the side. A lot of flavored stuff. Now we're going to go over to the, I believe we're going over to the vodka section. There's a few cream liqueurs and some more Irish whiskey down there. Here we go. The vodka, some New Amsterdam. Some pink. There's a gluten-free New Amsterdam. I don't think I remember seeing that one around very often. New Amsterdam was about normal prices, $11. They did have all these signs up saying they no longer sell Russian vodka at this Total Wine, and that seemed to be the case at most of the distilleries, most of the liquor stores we had went to. And if there's a canned vodka, I'm not a big fan of any kind of spirits, like, alcohol. I'm not talking about beer, but in cans, I feel like it always tastes a little off. It was like that with Stillhouse and a few other vodkas we've had in cans previously, or whiskeys in cans or metal containers. Just not a fan. Good price on Finlandia, $13, $13.99. It's cheaper than we can get it at home. Some Ciroc, what you'd expect, Belvedere, FN, some Crystal Head, Sure Absolute. And we are going to get into some of the more flavored vodkas at some point on the show. We've just been trying to get their unflavored ones out of the way first before we dive deep into the flavored stuff. They did have a huge selection of Veal Vodka, as you'll see in a minute. I think that's a Total Wine store brand, I want to say. I'm not 100% sure on that. A lot of Pinnacle, some Stoli. Sky, there's some Seagrams down there, and some Popov. Smirnoff. All the flavors and the infused ones, so on and so forth. That Star Blue, I think, is also a store brand for Total Wine. Some Svedka. Tower Vodka. I've seen that a lot, too, but it looks almost exactly like the Tito's vodka, bottle. But, yeah, look at all these Veal flavors. Veal. I don't know. Veal. They have way more than I've seen in any other store. Some Wheatley, which is actually Buffalo Trace's bourbon. That was an interesting one. Titmice Vodka. There's another, looks like that's a ghost pepper vodka right there. Some grain alcohol. Yum, grain alcohol. more tequila there. Here's some fancy tequilas in the case here. So this is where we get to the crazy expenses. So look at these prices: $44,000, $40,000, $18,000. Insane. Here's the thing with when you get to alcohol at this price, like, it's not going to be, 1,000 times better than that, $40 bottle of Woodford. Is it going to be better? Possibly, but like not $40,000 better. Like, I never understand the appeal of these really expensive bottles. And, generally I don't pay over $35 to $40 for a bottle of alcohol. If it's a special occasion or if it's a high-end alcohol, I might pay $60 to $80. But 80 is close to the high end of what I'm willing to pay for an alcohol. And that's generally when, with Perles or if I'm buying something special for a wedding or something like that. But I'm not going to pay no crazy prices like this. And I get it. Some of these in here are from the 60s and 70s. I've looked at the date on a lot of these bottles. So, it makes sense they're expensive. They're super rare. You're probably not going to, once they're gone kind of deal. Like there's 1971 and 76 bottle down there. But also, when stuff's aged that long, just from my own experience, what I've had stuff aged over, 12 to 13 years, it typically leaves a lot of tannin into the alcohol. There's a lot of tannin in the alcohol. It's kind of, it almost adds a little bit of like a bitterness. And I'm not huge on that. So, like 10, 12 years is about as far as I go on age statements for stuff. If it's any other than that, I don't really think it's worth it. They had a huge selection of Japanese whiskey here. It's one of the biggest I've seen. I'm only used to seeing 3 or 4 bottles, and they had a good 30 or 40 different bottles there. Now we're going into the Scotch here. And still a few Japanese whiskeys on the bottom there as well. Just a lot of Scotch. A lot more than I'm used to seeing, that's for sure. We had limited space to bring stuff back, so I didn't spend a lot of stuff on getting alcohol. We picked up a few pints, and then maybe 1 or 2 fifths, and then maybe 5 or 6 beers. Again, we had to do a check bag, and there's a weight limit on that, so we couldn't get as much as we wanted. But that being said, like I said, there wasn't a huge beer selection available. There's a lot more alcohol that I'd be interested in buying. But, it's one of those things where, if I buy that $40 or $50 bottle, if it breaks in transit, that's a painful loss. Here's some more semi-expensive stuff. Arguably a little bit more reasonably priced for some of this stuff. It's still pretty high. Johnny Walker Blue Label, which honestly I wish I would have picked up that Vegas limited edition bottle. But again, a little bit out of our price range, and like I said, I'd hate for that to break in transit. Some rye right here, some moonshine. They had a pretty small selection of moonshine, smaller than I'm used to seeing. A lot of rye though, decent amount of rye, and including some more obscure rye that we only see at home. A huge Whistlepig section. I've never seen Whistlepig just sitting out on the shelf. Most of the time, it's almost always behind glass because they're always at least $75 or higher for their stuff. Now we're getting into some of the Canadian stuff. It's cheap stuff at the bottom, like Black Velvet, and there's some Tin Cup, some Ensign Red, which I think is also possibly a store brand for Total Wine. Again, I'm not sure on that one. Buchanan's. There's a new one right there. There's Johnny Walker High Rye. Didn't pick that up at this store, but I did pick up a bottle when I got home, shortly after we got home. It was pretty cheap, $28. It sounds like an interesting thing to try. Some mixers right there. It's those little weird shot things. Yay, flavored bourbons and whiskeys. Not as a huge Fireball selection as expected. But they did have one. I do like how they have how it's organized by flavors, or kind of organized by flavors. At home, our stuff's kind of just all thrown together, and you kind of got to pick through it. Some new Scatterbrain, and they even had Peanutty up there, which is the worst peanut whiskey ever made. Some E&J down there. So now we're getting into the beer section. These are just a lot of the domestic and import stuff right here, not craft. Nothing particularly crazy or different around here. There was one Tecate I've never seen, that Tecate Alta. You'll see. I'll do a close up of it here in a second. And I don't think I've ever seen that Indio either. I've never seen that one before either. But that's about it on the domestic and import stuff. Some Victoria, Superior, some Modelo. It seemed like Modelo was a pretty popular beer in Vegas. I will say that after watching people walk around, if people were drinking beer, they were drinking Modelo, or if they were drinking anything else, it was Twisted Tea. Like a ton of people were just walking around drinking Twisted Teas. And yeah, you did see the tourists walking around drinking the big slushy or like a cocktail. But I think I saw more people drinking Twisted Teas than I saw drinking seltzers and beer combined in Vegas. It was crazy. Some Lagunitas, some Kona, there's some Founders, the Shoots, some Anchor and Alaskan. Miller Lite, Coors Light, yay, seltzers. Some High Noon Sunsips in there. Here's some more. They're getting into more of the craft stuff here. The only craft brewery that they had here that we don't have at home that I noticed, that Hot Valley was one, but Belching Beaver, one I've never seen at home. I had a special order of that Deftones beer I was just pointing at there. But we did pick up the Peanut Butter Nitro Belching Beaver and then the regular one. And I think we picked up two more, but unfortunately one of them did bust in our suitcase coming back. And, that was a pleasant surprise. Yay, Bud Light. Whoa. I do kind of like the natural lights going back to the old boxes. I definitely like them better than the new logos. This is another one I saw everywhere that I'd never heard of. Moontucky. They had a beer and seltzers everywhere. I saw quite a few people drinking those too, and like I said, I've never heard of that brand. I don't know if it's new or is it just a Vegas thing, or just this side of the United States thing. There's the Hell's Kitchen seltzers right there, Gordon Ramsay seltzers. There's a KBS hazelnut. Sure, Mike's Hards and other seltzers and stuff like that over there. So this is our single section. Typical single beers, which is what you'd expect. You'd see anywhere. Quite a few of the domestics in there. Boulevard, Two Hearted Ale, all the stuff you see. Avery, Left Hand. These are all breweries you see everywhere. Deschutes, Bells, Stone, Lagunitas, New Belgium. Yeah, nothing. Like I said, nothing really stood out. That's for sure. And this store still had the best selection of beer out of any place we'd been in Vegas. And like I said, it's not saying much. This section was just okay. It would have done the job. Some Heineken, some more import stuff in here. There's those Hell's seltzers. I didn't pick those up. Again, I didn't have room for them, but I wish I could have. If I was going to pick up a seltzer, I'd want to try those. I'm sure they're probably awful. We love to review awful things. That is our job. Some more the 6-packs and 12-packs of some more of the craft-esque beers. Rogue, Rogue, and Dale's Pale Ale down there, and then Sierra Nevada. And Killian's. Leinenkugels. I did see this Lagunitas Disorderly Tea House. Wanted to pick those up. They were a little pricey. And again, it was a lot of them, so I did not. But I did find them at our local Total Wine at Home, so we will be trying those soon. There's some more Belching Beaver stuff. I think that was a Mexican hot chocolate stout right there. This Bill's Too Hard It. Some Boulevard, Deschutes, Elysian. 805, I think that's Firestone Walker. There's some Goose Island. More seltzers. I have noticed that the seltzer sections are slowly starting to dwindle, which is nice to see. Alright guys, well that has been this beer and booze hunting video. If you want to see more videos like this, you can leave a comment down below. I'm Special K, and thanks for watching.